Well, good morning. It is May the 2nd, and I have no heat on. I don't have the kerosene heater lit. I don't have the electric space heater on. No heat. I think this is the first time I've had no heat on since last fall. It is wonderful. Finally. Oh, good coffee this morning. I've got one cat at my feet, and I've got another one over here. And you know what? I forgot to turn the lights on. So give me 1 second, people. I will be right back. Is that better? Oh, I just stirred mittens. There we go. Trying to get situated, not disturb the cats too much. Already disturbed mittens. Well, it is going to be a beautiful day here today. Sun shining, high of 86. Whoa. Next 2 days, oh man, okay. It's going to be 90 tomorrow and Friday. It's like, okay, I'm not looking forward to that. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot. Thankfully, this house is still cool, so I should not have to put the air conditioning on. I certainly hope not, because I'm not ready for that. I was hoping I could get away with not having to use the air conditioning at all before we move. That's what I was hoping for, so we'll see how it goes. Well, what are we going to talk about today? Well, there has been something that has been on my mind for some time. And I was debating on making a video about it, but I could touch base on it today. And that is nutrition, equine nutrition. Okay. That is one of the biggest things that I come across is, questions about feeding a horse, especially a horse that's having some issues. Okay. Let me put this out there. I am not a vet. Okay. I have done some study in regards to equine nutrition, but I am not any kind of a certified nutritionist or anything like that. This is just my own personal experience from what I have had to deal with in my life. Okay. Right now, I have an easy keeper. I'm trying to keep her weight under control, but I've also had to deal with skinny horses and putting weight back on them. So I did a lot of research into equine nutrition. Now, this is the bad part about doing a live stream, especially when I have such a busy week, is I don't have any props. I can't show you things. And I have no idea how people flash pictures on their live streams. I don't know if they use a different program or what. I'm just using this YouTube thing here. So, excuse me. There are a lot of things. One thing you've got to remember, and I've mentioned this many times, with a horse or any um, grazing animal, the most important thing for them to have is forage. What is forage? Forage is grass, hay, uh, beet pulp shreds is considered a forage. Okay. Now that's what is available here in my area. Now most people have some kind of grass, and of course the grass is what we cut to make hay. There's a variety of different types of grasses that we use that we cut for hay. And some areas, certain types of grass is more prevalent than in others. Okay. And it depends on what's going on in your area where you live. Now, alfalfa is not a grass. Alfalfa is a legume. Okay. Now, I know that it's very common out west to feed horses straight alfalfa. Okay. Because for whatever reason, they grow a lot of it, and the alfalfa tends to be cheaper than grass hay. Now, where I live in the east, yeah, excuse me, alfalfa is more expensive than grass hay, generally speaking. Okay. But the thing with the alfalfa is that it has a higher protein. Okay. It's higher in protein than grass. Now, if you need to build muscle on your horse, if your horse is in work and not just sitting around in pasture, okay, you the alfalfa can be of benefit. Now, I don't dare give Honey any alfalfa. I don't dare. Okay, because she's being plump enough on what she gets, and I feed her strictly grass hay. That's it. Okay. Now the thing is with the alfalfa, because it has a higher protein content, and this is where you really need to talk to a vet who is well versed with nutrition. And let's face it, different vets have different areas of expertise where they excel. Okay. Just because you're a vet does not mean that you know everything there is to know about a horse. Some vets are better with leg injuries. Some are better with diseases. Some are better with nutritional information. Okay, so this is where you need to know your vet. But still, your vet will probably know more about equine nutrition than you do. Good chance of it. So you should always consult with your vet, especially if you're having dietary issues with your horse. So this is just a guide, okay? Um, okay. Uh, there are a lot of feeds, commercial feeds that are available. And again, it all depends on your horse. Um, the cowboys, or a long time ago, they used to give horses a handful of oats. Okay. Some give them a handful of corn, depending on where you are. And then we get into the commercial feeds. On the back of the, or sometimes it's on the back of the feed bag, sometimes it is on the tag, okay, that's attached to the feed bag. And it has a nutritional breakdown. Okay. If you are using your horse for work, okay, you're using the horse every day to haul things, to transport you, what have you. If they're being worked every day, then their nutritional needs are going to be higher. Okay. Some feeds, you can look at the ingredients. Okay. If higher in grains means it's generally higher in proteins. And if your horse is in work, then higher protein may be necessary. Then you get into an older horse where too much protein can cause a problem with the kidneys. So this is where you need to consult with the vet, okay? See if the horse can handle it. But another thing that will put weight on a horse is fat, okay? There are a lot of sources of fat for a horse. You have a lot of people would just pour corn oil on their feed, about a quarter of a cup, okay? You just add some corn oil. Some use vegetable oil, but in my parts here, corn oil is very common to use. Another thing that you can do is add rice bran, stabilized rice bran. And I think that's pretty much all they sell is the stabilized rice bran, but I could be wrong. I mean, different parts of the country could be different. So rice bran is a good thing to add. And also certain grains, black whole sunflower seeds have been used, not as much. And that depends. Some people sprout them, and that's fine. You don't want to go overboard with any of this stuff. Very small quantities, okay? But like I said before, the most important thing is good forage, quality forage. The good pasture, okay? What kind of grass do you have in your pasture? Is it high protein pasture? Is it high protein grass? Is it low protein grass? Yes, there's different grasses have different levels of protein, okay? And if it's too rich a pasture, then that can cause problems as well. I used to work for a woman who has had a real problem with weight on one of her horses because her pasture was too rich. I don't know what she ever ended up doing. So so we have so when we go from grass to hay, okay. Now again, different hays, different times of cutting, different qualities. When I had a horse that I needed to put weight on, I tried to get grass hay that was more leafy and less stemmy, softer. Okay. Now, with honey, I'm looking for a coarser hay that's a little more stemmy because she needs to have for her digestive system to work properly, she needs to have the forage, but she doesn't need a whole lot of stuff in it because she will just balloon up. So I try to get a little bit rougher hay. And then you've got your junk hay. It's not good for much other than bedding, okay, because it's been sitting around too long. But sometimes you can mix that with the good hay to help stretch the good hay if your horse doesn't need the top quality hay. Okay. Now, what about these other products? They have the hay cubes, pressed hay cubes, and they have hay pellets. Now, I do use hay pellets for honey, but what I do is I get the cheapest, lowest feed that I can get, and I mix it half and half with hay pellets. Why? To help stretch the feed. So in Honey's mind, she's getting more than what she's really getting. Okay. And I only give her like the equivalent of a 1 pound coffee can, about quarter of it. Okay. She doesn't get it every day. It's a treat. Now, there's another accident. There usually every morning there's an accident. I got the news on that's muted. Squirrel. Yeah, I know. Very much so. Okay. Now, when you're trying to put weight on an older horse, I highly recommend a senior feed. And even if it's not an older horse, if it's, say, a, um, a younger horse that for whatever reason has lost a lot of weight, uh, like in a rescue situation where it's obviously a case of neglect, I highly recommend a senior feed. The reason being is that the base of the senior feeds is a beet pulp, which is a forage. It's considered a forage, even though it's got a little bit more nutrition to it than regular grass. Okay. And the thing with senior feeds is usually formulated so that it is safe for the horses to have it free choice. Now, then you got to watch if there's any other horses around that they can't get to it if you're feeding free choice. And that opens up another whole can of worms. But feeding a horse senior feed is good for putting the weight on if they're having issues. Because not only does it usually have a forage base, but it's also a little higher in fat. But then again, that also depends on the brand. You got to read the labels, okay? If your horse can get by with a lower amount of fat, fine, go with that one. Sometimes they need a little bit more. And like I said before, you can also add a fat source to the feed. If you're adding an oil, about a quarter of a cup, no more than that. Because if they're not digesting it properly and if they get more than what they can use, all you're going to do is have very greasy manure to clean up. Okay. Rice bran is also very good because it is in pellet form and it's very easy to add to their feed and mix it in, and it's fine. Okay. And I started talking about the cubes too. Okay. Now, in my area, the straight hay cubes are not available right now. They do make them. I know because I used to feed them to my other horse, but they had to be special ordered. Okay. So they're not as readily available in my area, sadly. I wish that they did, but because I would like to have them on hand for just in case. But they do have um, alfalfa grass mix. Okay. And they have alfalfa hay cubes. Again, like I said, the alfalfa is higher in protein, so you got to be careful. And it depends. Now, I don't know if protein levels vary with alfalfa depending on what area they're grown in or what species of alfalfa. Okay. You have to ask your vet. You have to see what's what in your own local area. Okay. But just like uh, some people use it to supplement their hay, like if the hay crop in their area has been poor, they'll get these hay cubes, which are shipped in. And they're easier to handle because they come in big bags, and you can use that to supplement. But it's the same thing as what you get, in a bale. It's just compressed hay cubes. It's just easier to handle. That's all, and it's also more expensive. Okay, the hay pellets is the same thing. Now, thankfully, in my area, we can get the grass hay pellets. Used to be just Timothy hay, but now they've got the orchard grass as well. So you got your orchard grass and your Timothy, and then they have a alfalfa Timothy mix, and then they have straight alfalfa. Okay, so all of these are not just good for horses, but they use them for other animals as well. I've heard of them using them for goats. I've heard of them using them for sheep. I've heard of them using them for rabbits. Okay, especially the alfalfa cubes. I've heard of people giving them to the rabbits. Um, so, oh, let me see here. You got to make sure too that you have good water for your horses. Oh, somebody mentioned on my last video that they used to just take the horses to water first thing in the morning and last thing at night, and that's fine. That's fine. They have access to it. In my particular situation, we happen to have automatic waterers, and the horses will drink when they want to. I don't know how many times a day they go. Um, if it's hot, if they're working, like if we're on a trail ride, um, I like to be able to offer my horse water. Um, if not during the ride, at least at the end of it. Sometimes she drinks, sometimes she doesn't. And sometimes all she does is just rinse her mouth out, you know, and that's fine if that's all she wants. But I like to offer it. Okay. Now, if you have any other questions about equine nutrition, you can ask. Okay. I'm just giving off the top of my head just some basic information. Okay, it's really basic, and every horse is an individual, and you've got to know what your own horse's individual nutritional needs are. Okay, and that's based on your area, what's available in your area, and whether your horse requires a little bit extra because their metabolism is very high, or if it's very low, like Honey's, and you need to watch what you give them. But one thing I will say, minis, mini horses do not, I repeat, do not require grain. Okay. A lot of people, you see them, they get these little minis as pets, and They give them the grain because they think that that's what they're supposed to be. No, they really don't need it. Now, if you're concerned about whether or not they're getting enough vitamins and minerals and whatnot, they have what they call a ration balancer. And you only give like a really small amount, okay? And it's basically like a multivitamin for horses, okay? Oh, excuse me. So, and also donkeys do not need grain either, okay? Maintenance is back up here. So anything at all that I can help you with, if you're having any problems at all, I've helped people before. Sometimes you just need a little bit of direction. If I'm not there, it's hard to pinpoint down specifics at times, but you'd be surprised what you can get across in an email, okay? That's what I like to do. Start the communication with an email because my life right now is very crazy, okay? As a matter of fact, today I have to take my father for a doctor's appointment, and then he's got another appointment on Friday. Plus, I'm trying to pack up my house so we can, when we find our property, we're not rushing around trying to pack everything at last minute and going nuts. I'm trying to get things sorted out, thinned out, and packed up early. Okay. And then there's just regular life too, day to day life. So things are a little crazy for me. And I really do prefer to communicate with email because then I can just get to it. I can sit down without distractions and I can go over the emails. If it's not clear, I'll ask questions back, okay, to get clarification. And I've done this before for other people and it's worked out very well. And sometimes I've helped with some feed issues. I've helped with some behavioral issues, um, some housing issues. Just my email is there on my about page, and you're more than welcome to email me. And if I have an answer for you, if I think I can help you, I will. Um, of course, someone there in person is better, but sometimes you just need a little bit of redirection or a little piece of information that maybe you didn't have. So emails are fine. And I'm pretty good at it, okay, as communicating through the emails. So feel free to help out. Okay. Well, now that I got that without any kind of props, maybe one of these days I'll do a little bit more comprehensive video about nutrition. But to start, so how's my packing coming? Well, I got all my false craft dishes out. That's gone. I wanted to get rid of them because they're just too heavy and too clunky and they take up too much space. And I had quite a few. Didn't have every piece, but I had a lot. So I got rid of those. I donated them. I got rid of a lot of glassware. I still have a few pieces that I've hung on to. Okay. Uh, but I wanted to downsize it because it's pretty and all, but I really don't use it. So if I'm not going to use it, why have it? So I don't have very many pieces of that left. And I was going to pack those up maybe today if I have time. I've been trying to get the books packed up and taken care of. Okay. I think it's my father is an avid reader. So thankfully there's a library just up the street. And I keep him well supplied with library books. The beautiful thing about library books is you borrow them and you take them back. It's wonderful. I'm hoping there'll be another library that he can get to when we move. I don't know what to expect because I don't know where we're going to move to specifically. I have a certain area that I'm looking, and there's seems to be some properties in that area that are available. So I just have to look. I've already missed out on some really good buys because we just weren't ready to go look at the property, and my husband is pretty like adamant we're not buying anything we don't look at, which I can understand. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. I'm very leery about buying something sight unseen as well. So, but we're depending on how my father's appointment goes on Friday, we'll determine when we can get down for a visit to look at property. And that's going to be quite involved, I'm sure. And just praying people we find the right one. Just pray we make the right decision. Okay. So I've had a lot of things going out the door. I've been going through clothing and books. I've gotten rid of a lot of books. Unfortunately, my husband won't part with very many, even though he hasn't looked at many of them for many years. And he's got quite a few. Now, my son, he's got a collection of uh, Transformers. I had no clue he had so many. It's just ones he's bought over the years. And you know how many he's parting with? Two. That's it. Two. It's like, I don't know if he's moving with us or if he's going elsewhere. He had originally planned on going elsewhere. However, since our timetable got moved up, I'm not so sure that's going to work for him. I don't know. Um, I don't have a problem with him coming with us if that's what he ends up deciding to do, because he is a help to me. He's my tech support for one thing. So he is useful. And he can do other things. I'm not looking forward to moving his Transformers. Not at all. But well, I guess nobody else is up this early in the morning. Even Dizzy isn't up yet. So this is exciting, watching me drink coffee. Well, so what are we looking for? I'm looking for a minimum of 10 acres. Okay. Don't really want more than 40. Okay. Because that's, I mean, I'm not getting any younger. My husband, especially, is not getting any younger. So it needs to be something that's manageable, whether through use of certain livestock or just us doing what needs to be done. Okay. It's got to be manageable. And I don't mind some vertical land, but I need to have some that's not so vertical, because I think that if we got nothing but hills, I think Honey would be cursing me. So that's what we're looking for. Trees, want trees. I don't want something that's had every stick taken off the property, because I'm just thinking, oh, the sun, it would be unbearable. I like sunshine, but I also really like the shade. Okay. Mittens, can you get any closer, my dear? She's like right up against my lap, but she's not really on my lap. But she's cuddling in. Now, as to buildings, well, like I spoke to a real estate agent on Sunday. I don't know if she's going to work or he's going to work out. We'll see. Um, but the dwelling doesn't matter so much to me. Um, I said, I don't mind a mobile home. I don't mind a double wide. I don't mind an older home, so long as it's structurally sound. Okay. Um, there are certain things I can handle fixing. Okay. But if it's structural, no, I don't want to have to mess with it. Okay. If the bathroom is somewhat decent, that's okay. Or if the price is good enough or low enough to where I can have a plumber come in and upgrade a bathroom, then that's fine. But it depends on what the sale price is. Yeah, there was one home I was looking at. It was 34 acres, and they really didn't show a lot of pictures of the interior of the house. Um, and from what I could tell, again, with photographs, you really can't tell very well, but it kind of looked like the roof line might be good. I mean, that's one of the first things I look at if I'm looking at a house, is I look at the roof line. Is the roof line straight? Okay. If there's a dip, no, I don't want it. There's an issue. Okay. But if the roof line is straight, then okay, we can continue on. And that's what I look at. Also look at foundation. Oh, excuse me. For any cracks or bows. Okay. Now it depends on where it is and what kind of foundation, as to how easy that is for me to check. Um, I'm not an engineer. I'm not an expert. I kind of have an idea what to look for. So some of the basics I can see, but I definitely think that if we do get an already existing structure, probably have an inspection done. Okay. But we're also looking at raw land. Okay. I don't have an issue with putting one of those Amish sheds on the property and building it out, so long as it's legal to do so. And from what I understand, some areas in Kentucky, you can get by with it. Other areas, no, you can't. Um, so we need some kind of shelter for sure. Okay. Whether it's something that's already existing or we put something on there, it all depends on the price of the property as to what we do. I'm flexible. I'm flexible. There have been a couple of parcels that I found that already had existing barns on them. Um, I don't necessarily have to have um, a barn because I prefer a run in. But, if there's already an existing barn and I can, arrange it so that at least part of it can be used as a run in, that's fine. I'll use it. And so that's what I'm looking at. Now, if the property is all wooded and cannot be timbered because it doesn't have any good timber on it, then probably won't go for that. Because I need to have some area where I can let Honey graze. Okay. Let Honey and her companion graze. Honey will not be coming by herself. Okay. There will be another herd animal with her, whether it be another horse or goat or cow or what have you. I don't know yet. Okay. I've been talking and exploring a few things. But I do know that Honey will not be coming by herself. She will not be alone because horses are herd animals and they need to have at least one other companion. Okay. So I am really, really, really looking forward to setting up my farm, my homestead, my own space. I have an idea for my chickens. Yes, there will be chickens. And anything else? Who knows? Depends on the land as to what I get. I'm very seriously considering rabbits, mainly because of the manure. I'm not sure if they're going to be meat rabbits or what have you, because I don't know if my family will eat rabbit. I don't know that they've ever had it. My husband will pretty much eat whatever I serve him. So if my son comes, he's a little bit pickier. I guess if you get hungry enough, you eat just about anything. And that's what changed me, because way back when my son was very small, not even in school yet, we went through a really, really, really hard time where I didn't have hardly anything to buy food with. I remember one time counting pennies, and I managed to come up with $7. to buy food for my small family for a week. Okay. $7. And I did it. It wasn't the most nutritious food, but we did not go hungry. And at that time, I had some people in the extended family that hunted. And they gave us some extra meat that they had. And that's when I tasted venison. And somebody gave me a rabbit, maybe two. So I wasn't terribly fond of the rabbit. It was okay. Maybe I didn't cook it right at that time because it was a wild rabbit. I did the best I could, and it was edible. But when you're going hungry, you learn, you eat what you can get and be thankful for it. And before that, oh no, I wouldn't eat a rabbit. I wouldn't eat deer. Oh no, that's Bambi. Soon learned I had to feed my son. And I was grateful for that meat. And back then, where we were, there was no food banks. There was no WIC. There was no assistance of any kind. Where we were, it was strictly on us. Okay. And it was tight for a little while. So, and I hope and pray we never go through that again. But growing my own will be helpful. Now, if I knew now, if I knew then what I know now, we probably wouldn't have been quite so hard up. Because I wanted to have a garden, and I got permission from the landlord to have a garden in a certain spot. Well, I only knew about, you till the ground, you dig into the ground but it was hard packed gravel. I mean, yeah, there was scrub grass coming up, but I started to try to dig in there to have a garden. It's like, there was no way. I have since learned how to build soil. Okay. And I mean, I was very young back then. And plus, we didn't have the internet. Yes, that was way back in the dark ages. No internet, no computers, no cell phones. Did we have microwaves back then? No, I don't think we had microwaves either at that point. I mean, way back when. Okay. And I mean, with the knowledge that I have now, I had it back then, I could have had a really decent garden. But I didn't know then. So we had to struggle. But I'm very much looking forward to having a garden again. Yes, at one point I did have a garden later on when we had a home, and we had, was it 3/4 of an acre? I think it was 3/4 of an acre. A lot of clay at the back end of it. But this one section near the front was really good soil. And I had a nice little garden. So, and again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have been able to produce a little bit more on that land. But I knew that, I mean, I figured clay, you can't do anything with clay. But now I've learned since, yeah, you can. It's not as easy as what I did in the front, but it's it was pretty good. I would have been able to do more there. Not live and learn. So the next place I will probably be doing raised beds, mostly. Maybe not all. Like I said, it depends on the land. But the raised beds I'm looking at doing because I don't get down as easily as I used to. Okay. Um, my feet don't like bending that way. So maybe the more I do, the more flexible I get. I don't know. We'll see. I've been trying to do stretching exercises and whatnot. So, but I know what to use. And with trees, I have lots of leaves. Whether or not I have any wood chips, who knows? Don't know. But I'll use what I have. Old hay, old straw, who knows? You know, it's a matter of being flexible. That's what it boils down to, being flexible. Nothing's written in stone. So I'm looking forward to fresh air and clean water and peace and quiet. Because right now I've got traffic out in front of me. There was a train earlier. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. Well, I'm sorry to see I've had nobody join me this morning in the chat. Well, I mean, that's fine. Um, it's oh, Four Horse Ranch, good morning. You finally showed up with your coffee, I see. Just in time for me to say goodbye. But that's okay. Better late than never, right? I have to get ready because my father has a doctor's appointment this morning. I got my gas yesterday. And yes, I'm sure the goats really appreciated that. What's the temperature for you over there now? They're talking a high of 86 today and 90 tomorrow and on Friday. And then Saturday dropping back down into the 70s. So we're just getting a little taste of summer and then back to spring for at least a few days anyway. That's the only thing with these live streams is the lag in the chat. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a hot one. Your goats have shade? Do you have trees? I think tomorrow, I'm going to the farm tomorrow morning. I think I'm going to put some of their hay inside the run-in because it's nice and cool inside the run-in. Just pet my cat here. She's right next to my lap. So, well, yeah, it is, but I think it's our hot spell is just temporary, and we've had um, brief hot spells in May before. It's not all that unusual. Not necessarily pleasant, but it's not really all that unusual. So at least the temperatures are going back down again. We've been very fortunate in that, for I can't remember the last time that we've had a stretch of 100-degree plus weather. We have had it back when I was younger, but we haven't had any for at least 10 years. It's been nice. We got spoiled. 90s is bad enough. When it's that hot, I don't do anything midday. I seek out cool air, and I don't ride either. If it's that hot. No, I'm just focused on making sure that the animals don't get overheated. 90-degree weather, though, is very good for giving a horse a bath. Of course, they may disagree with it, but of course, if Honey would stop laying in the mud and not roll in the manure before I get it cleaned up, well, hope you have a good rest of the day. 4 hearts. I got to get moving so I can get ready, get my dad's breakfast, and take him to his appointment. I think it's just a checkup today. This VA that he goes to is very good. You too. Have a good one. See you next week.